morning, friends. Welcome to Carrie's Culinary Crafts. And if you're new, welcome. Here on Carrie's Culinary Crafts, we talk all things food. And we are in week 5 of the Three Rivers Pantry Challenge. The Three Rivers Pantry Challenge is a challenge that is hosted by Jessica over at Three Rivers Homestead. And she does this challenge every year. And I have joined in the past 3 years where we try to use everything out of our pantries, our canning pantry, and our freezers as much as possible for 2 months. And with her challenge, she always says that everybody can make up their own rules. And my rule is that I only buy eggs and dairy from the grocery store, and anything that is needed for somebody else in the family that really has nothing to do with the challenge. Like my granddaughter, for instance, she finished up her goldfish, so I needed to replenish her goldfish. And my son takes grapes every day to school, so grapes is another thing that I need to purchase on a weekly basis, along with milk and eggs if I need them. So, and today I'm going to go ahead and get some things from my freezer. I also have some prep work to do. This past weekend was pretty busy. My son was home from college, and I didn't get much filming done this weekend. Unfortunately, on the weekends that he's home, I don't get much filming done, which is unfortunate because I do end up doing a lot of stuff in the kitchen, but there's just too much going on that I can't always film it. But I'm gonna try and get some filming done today, which has some prep work. Okay, today I am making myself some breakfast. And since I was doing that, I thought I would kind of make things a little bit easier with me. I have a pound of breakfast sausage here, and I wanted to make myself a sausage patty for breakfast. And I figured since I'm doing that, I am just going to go ahead and cook up all of this meat at once, because I am going to make a few breakfast burritos. I'm not going to make like a big batch of like 60 or 70 like you've seen me do in the past. I am just going to do like maybe a week's worth of or so, just to have for this week for my husband for a quick grab breakfast, and myself and my son if he wants to grab one on his way to school. So I am going to go ahead and cook up the sausage. Now I'm just going to do one patty for myself, and then the rest I am going to go ahead and crumble up, so I can just mix it in with the eggs later, and then that way it'll be nice and cooled down, so I'll be able to build the breakfast burritos. So I'm just going to go ahead and brown this sausage along with the one sausage patty that I am going to have for breakfast. And then I will cook a few eggs, as well as I have a few of the baked potatoes, loaded baked potatoes that I had the other day with the ribs. And I'm going to cook one of those potatoes for me to have with my breakfast. And then the other couple that are left over, I am going to go ahead and cut them up and put them in the breakfast burritos as well. As you can see, it's just potatoes with some cheese and bacon. So I think that'll be good, because I usually do not put potatoes in my breakfast burritos. Once in a while I will. But I don't always do that. Normally I just do eggs and cheese. So, okay, I am going to get this cooked up. And I'm not going to make you guys watch me sit here and brown meat. So I will bring you back. Okay, so my sausage is done. So I am going to go ahead and pull out my sausage and put them in this bowl here that has a paper towel in. Okay, and there's a little bit of grease in the pan still, and I'm just going to go ahead and leave that in there. And I cut up one of the potatoes, and I'm going to go ahead and stick that in there just to heat those through. It's already cooked. And then I'm going to fry up some eggs. A little salt and pepper. And I'm going to go ahead and turn off this heat. Flip my eggs, see if I can do all of them without breaking the yolk. Okay, there's one. There's two. And there's three. Woohoo! All right, so that's turned off. And I'm going to get my toast going, and then breakfast will be served. I'm going to save this pan, save that grease. Because I will use it to cook up all the eggs that I'm going to use in order to make the breakfast burritos. And there is my nice hearty breakfast. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and fry up some eggs in order to make the breakfast burritos. Now I believe I have 8 tortillas, so I'm going to crack 8 eggs. And I'm just going to scramble them up, put them in the pan with some seasoning, salt, pepper, garlic powder. And I'm going to go ahead and cook these up, and then I am going to wrap them in tortillas with some cheese.
And here is my Knife Saga Nakiri chef knife that you can still get 50% off if you click the link down below in the description box. Until February 17th, you can get 50% off of this knife. I am using the knife here to cut up my leftover baked potatoes that I had cheese and bacon on. I'm going to add those to my eggs, as well as I'm going to put the sausage that I had cooked earlier back into the pan as well. And then we're going to go ahead and get our tortillas ready to roll up. Now, today I am using American cheese, or what my son calls plastic cheese. It is actually the cheese that we enjoy in our breakfast burritos because it is so creamy. When you heat them up in the microwave for like 30 seconds, it just melts that cheese and makes it all really creamy. So we actually really enjoy the American cheese on our breakfast burritos.
Hi, Raven. What? You smell eggs and sausage? Hon, you want a breakfast burrito? Hi, honey. You want a breakfast burrito or these eggs and sausage potatoes left?
Yeah, I'll just have the eggs, sausage, potatoes.
It's on the table, honey.
Okay, now we're going to go ahead and make some sourdough bagels. And I am going to need 150 grams of active sourdough, And I will need 265 grams of warm water, preferably non-chlorinated water, because you don't want it to harm your active sourdough. $20 grams of sugar, and we will need 500 grams of bread flour. You can also use all-purpose flour. And 10 grams of salt. And we are going to knead this dough on low for about 10 minutes until the dough pulls off the sides of the bowl. And while this dough is kneading, I'm going to go ahead and feed my sourdough. I'm going to put in approximately 100 grams of flour and 100 grams of warm dechlorinated water. So you want a really good filtered water. You don't want to kill your sourdough starter. And you want the sourdough starter to resemble a thick pancake batter. It can be a little bit thinner. Some people like a thinner sourdough starter, but I do prefer more like a thick pancake batter starter. Now it has been 10 minutes since the KitchenAid has been kneading the sourdough bagel dough, and now I'm just going to let it set overnight for the sourdough to ferment, and I will throw the bagels together tomorrow morning. There is the dough, and by tomorrow morning it will be at least doubled in size. Now I'm just going to cover the sourdough with some plastic wrap because you don't want to leave it totally uncovered because if air gets to it, then it's going to um, form a very hard crust on top.
Okay, I let my sourdough bagels rise overnight. And the dough had doubled in size. So I am going to go ahead and shape my bagels. And I just form it into a nice ball so it's smooth on top. Push my thumb through to make a hole and just twirl it to make the hole bigger. I'll probably get around 8 bagels from this dough. And since this is the first time that I'm really making sourdough bagels, I'm just making a single batch just to see how we like them. And if we do like them, then the next time I make them, maybe I'll make a double batch and then I'll freeze some. But for right now, I just wanted to go ahead and make a single batch just to see how they turn out. Okay, then I'm gonna cover these and I am going to let them rise for about an hour before I go ahead and boil them and bake them. Okay, it has been about an hour and a half. I have some boiling water here. And here are my bagels. And I have some everything bagel seasoning here that I'm gonna, if I can open, put in this bowl so I can top the bagels. And I have some baking soda here that I'm going to put in the water. Some people put sugar, honey. I don't find that that's necessary. I just use the baking soda. It's what gives that bagel the bagel texture. And I am going to go ahead and put my bagels in. Now we only need to do them 1 minute per side. ahead and flip them over.
Now, once the bagels are done boiling, I'm going to pull them out of the pan and I'm going to put them into the everything bagel seasoning and then put them on a sheet pan so I can bake them.
Alright, we're going to go ahead and flip them over for the second side. Okay, now I'm going to pull them out, put the seasoning on them. Now here's where you can do all kinds of different seasonings. If you want to do cheese, you can do cheese. You can do onions, you can just do herbs. Whatever you'd like, you can put on the bagels. Okay, now I'm going to put these in the oven for 20 to 25 minutes when they're all toasty looking. And I'll bring you back whenever they're done. And after 25 minutes, there are the bagels. Okay, for today's dinner, we are doing one pot spaghetti. And I have some Butcher Box ground beef here that I'm going to go ahead and brown. Okay, once your meat is browned, if you have some oil or grease at the bottom, you can definitely strain that out, get a paper towel and swish it around, but we don't have any down there, so I'm going to go ahead and just add my sauces. This is one that I had open in the fridge when I made pizzas the other day. So I'm going to put that sauce in there. And I have another open sauce here. And then this is just a tomato juice that I had canned up on the shelf. Because you're going to need plenty of liquid in your pot to cook the spaghetti. And I'm going to take these 2 jars and I'm going to put a little bit of water in them to get the rest of that sauce out and add into the pot. Okay, now I'm going to bring this up to a boil. And once it's bubbling, I'm going to go ahead and add in the pasta. And then I'm going to put a lid on it and just let it cook for about 10 minutes or so. And you want to check to make sure if you need to add a little bit more water, then go ahead and do that, because the pasta is going to absorb a lot of the actual liquid. So if you need to add a little bit more water, you certainly can do that. Okay, now that it's bubbling, I'm going to go ahead and add in the pasta. You want to make sure that your pasta is completely covered by the sauce. Now I'm going to go ahead and put my lid on it, and I'm going to kind of leave it alone for about 5 minutes. Then I'll come back and stir it just to make sure that no pasta is sticking to the bottom. And then I'll see if it needs any liquid added at that point. Okay, I'm gonna just turn this down a little bit, turn it down to low. And I'm gonna leave the lid off at this point. And I'm going to cook it until it's done, so probably another 5 minutes or so. And then at that point it'll be ready, but I will leave it on low. Or maybe even turn it off at that point. Because this is a ceramic cast iron Dutch oven, so it'll stay hot for a long period of time, and I'll just leave it on the burner. And I have some cottage cheese that I found in my refrigerator that was kind of hiding. It's slightly past the date, but it had the seal on it and smells fine, so I'm going to go ahead and add this in. So it's going to kind of like be a lasagna pasta. Once my son comes home, I'm going to have him shred up some Asiago cheese. It's a hard cheese, sharp cheese, similar to like Parmesan. I kind of use them interchangeably. Okay, I went ahead and tasted the noodles just to make sure that they were done, and they are done. And I added just a little bit of salt and pepper to taste. And now that it is done, I am just going to put the lid on it and just leave it alone until it is dinner time. Okay, hold on. I can put the rest in rest in the bag. What?
I was just waiting.
Do you want
Want
to?
to put the whole brick or the...
Yeah, you know what? Let's just put the whole brick in. It freezes better that way.